Hi folks, it's Monday. It's time for Monday Motivation. And today's Monday Motivation comes from something that I've learned in therapy. As I mentioned in my last week's Monday Motivation, I have anxiety, and so I started seeing a therapist for it. And one of the key takeaways and learnings that I discovered about myself is I spend a lot of my time and a lot of my life trying to get things right. Now, this started for me at an early age when my legs were amputated just below my pelvis as a kid. And I remember right after they were removed, we went for a doctor's appointment, and the doctors told me and my family, we're going to get Spencer set up with prosthetics because every kid wants to walk. And I thought, well, that seems weird. I can walk on my hands, and that's like my form of walking. That seems okay, and I seem to be getting around just fine. But my parents were like, well, this is what the doctor suggests, so let's give it a try. So I got prosthetic legs, and truthfully, they're so helpful for a lot of people, but they were not helpful for me at the time. I found them really difficult to use. I sat in this bucket that was like on top of these two poles, and I had to like learn how to throw my weight around to like get the legs to move, and it was a lot of effort, and it took forever. It was faster to walk on my hands and push me in my wheelchair. But from kindergarten to grade 6, I worked with a physical therapist twice a week to use these because I was told that's what I should want. So I thought, well, I got to figure out how to make these work because this is what I'm supposed to do. But in grade 6, we sat down with a physical therapist, and she was like, you don't like these, do you? And I was like, no. It's so much easier to get around on my hands, and they agreed, and so we didn't use them anymore. It was also around this time that I was at a friend's house, and we were looking through like a Tiger Beat magazine, and we came across, I can't remember if it was a photo of Jonathan Brandis or New Kids on the Block. It doesn't matter. Anyway, we came across a photo of the heartthrob at the time, and my friend looked at me and she was like, oh, he's so cute. And I went to open my mouth to be like, yeah, he is. And before I could even say anything, she was like, oh, but you're a boy. You wouldn't think boys are attractive. And I was like, oh, yeah. And I know I've told that story before, but that was something that really like set me up for my sexuality and told me that like, oh, I guess I can't be that. So I've got to like girls. And I tried really hard for most of my life until about 21 when I came out. And then that's around the same time when I was in university. I was graduating school, and I got out into the real world and, was looking for a job that provided lots of money. That was the American dream, the North American dream that I had been sold. When I sort of got, not necessarily the job of my dreams, but a job that paid pretty decently, I was disappointed. And I was bummed because I was like, I wanted a job that not only paid well, but made the world a better place. And you've heard this story 1,000 times, so I'm not going to go into the whole thing, but that's when I found We through a friend and moved to Canada to work for this organization. But the biggest takeaway that I learned from my therapy is that I've spent my entire life trying to get things right. And it's led me down a path of exhaustion. And it's manifested in other ways of, not all the time, and I'm pretty good about admitting when I'm wrong and when I've made mistakes, but I do argue a lot with my friends and think that I'm right about things. With my friend Dave in particular that I climb Kilimanjaro with, we both always think that we're right, and we always butt heads. And the summer, when my buddies and I went camping, which is, if you haven't watched that video yet, it's right here. The first night, my buddy Dave and I were arguing over an Ed Sheeran song and like the meaning of it, and we were going head to head, and halfway through, I like stopped. And I thought, this is one of those times. And so I stopped arguing, and I just went to sleep. And the next morning, I said to him, I was like, Dave, I apologize. One of the things I've learned about myself is that I'm constantly trying to get things right. And so this is one of those times, and so my natural instinct is to get angry and to fight with you. And I apologize. And the minute I said that to him, I suddenly didn't really have the need to prove myself to him anymore. We could just be friends. Now, I'm not a therapist, so I'm just telling you what I've learned through therapy. But if I could give you one lesson from this entire video that I just rambled on about, is that be gentle with yourself. And that instinct and that voice and that intuition inside that's telling you, these are the things that you should be doing, or this is how you should be living your life, trust that. And be brave enough to live in those moments and to be okay with that. And to know that you don't always have to get things right. Just do the best that you can in that situation. And if you fail or you don't get it right, that's okay. You take some time to figure out what the lesson was, and then you go from there. I'm a firm believer that we are given challenges not because we've done something wrong in the world, but because we're meant to learn something and we're meant to grow. And I think that's the one thing that brings us all together as human beings, is that we are always going to face challenges. And that's important for us to evolve as individuals and as a society. So, today's Monday Motivation: you don't always have to be right. Be gentle with yourself. And I love you. That's it. Folks, thanks for always checking these videos out, and I hope you find them helpful. This is going to be the last Monday Motivation of the year. I'm going to be taking a break until after the new year, but Monday Motivation is coming back for sure. Thank you again for all of you that have subscribed lately, and for those of you that have been sticking around since the very beginning. I so appreciate it, and I wish all of you a happy holiday. Bye!